Right, so we're into the second week of August now, and we're just going to have a quick walk around the garden just to see what's happening and to have a look at how things have progressed since last time we did a bit of a tour. So the flower beds are really coming on. The cosmos have been really green and we've not had lots of flowers on them, but they are just starting to pick up now with the flowering. Perhaps the feed that they've had has been such that they've developed more greenery than flowers. But there are plenty of buds appearing now, so we're going to get a flush of flower anyway. The sweet peas are just going over. They're sort of past best now. We've been deadheading them every other day, but they've flowered for, what, 8-10 weeks now? Something like that. So they've done really well. On the cosmos, yeah, you tend to get more flowers, smaller flowers, but a little bit later. So again, that could have affected the flowering habit. But as you can see, there's lots of buds appearing now.
Yeah, because we did pinch them out, didn't we?
Yeah. We took the main sort of shoot out the middle, and it has made them really bushy actually. But yeah, they're starting to throw up a lot of buds now. So hopefully, end of this month, beginning of September, we should get a real good flush of colour. Yeah, they were just some spare plants that we threw in a pot, and they've actually done really well, to be honest. I think there's 3 plants in there. It's only a smallish pot for 3 plants, but as you can see, they've grown up right through the top. Thing to do.
Have they grown like that themselves, or have you sort of...
Yeah, I just tied them in once at the bottom. You can see there's just a bit of string there. And it was only a loose. It's not even knotted. It's just sort of pulled tight, just to tie it into the cane. And it's gone up. If you want them to bush out a bit more, you find the lead there, and all you do is just take that off, and that will encourage side shoots. Yeah. So once it gets to the top, do that, and it should bush itself out a bit. But there's been plenty of flowers on it. They've done really well. They're a lovely colour, those as well. Yeah. And then in the greenhouse, we'll just open both doors up. We're still carrying on with our tomato trial with the Shirley variety. We've got loads of tomatoes on, and they're just starting to go red. 1 or 2 showing signs. That one is the first one. But yeah, you've been counting them, Rachel. I don't envy you, because there's quite a lot on there. So they're all growing really well. And as you can see, we've taken all the lower leaves off just to let the light in and ventilation. And some of the trusses are getting so heavy that they're actually bending the support over. It shouldn't do it any harm anyway, unless it starts to break, and then you might want to support it in some way with a bit of netting or something. But as you can see there, I've missed a side shoot. Oh yeah. Just spotted that, so just take that out. We don't want those to grow, because we want all the energy to go into the fruit now. Some of them are climbing up into the roof of the greenhouse. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the growing tips out, because the fruit won't have time to ripen before the weather changes again. So now's the time really to top your tomatoes off, unless you've got a heated greenhouse, but ours isn't, so we'll take those tops out. And all it is, that's the growing tip there. You see the flower coming off, then a leaf, and that's your growing tip there. You see another flower trying to form there, but I'll take that out. Yeah. Try and leave a bit of a gap between your last truss and where you take them out. If there's another one I can show you that's perhaps a little bit better. So there, look, you can see the flowers there. You've got a leaf coming off there, another leaf there, and there's your growing tip growing up again. So all you need to do would be just to pinch that out. Yeah. If you remember last year, because the summer was slightly earlier and warmer earlier, they grew right up into the top. This year, because we've had a bit of a late summer, if you like, they've not grown quite so vigorously. So rather than them getting to the top, I'm going to stop them now, because I think we had fruit hanging from the rafters, if you like, last year. So they're all Shirley variety, and then we've got a mixture of varieties round the greenhouse. That was a nice one called Shimmer. They're just going red, but they'll be red, orange, and green in that variety. We've got Costeluto, Coeur de Bleu, and we've got a Coeur de Bleu there that's the fruit's just ripening off nicely. So that's nice. Yeah, so a couple of nice big tomatoes on there, so they'll be coming off any time. Yeah. So we've got quite a good selection in here. Definitely. I've got a couple of sweet peppers in there as well, which are just flowering. There's your flowers forming. Again, in the actual glass house, they're a bit further on. You've actually got some small peppers on, which we can have a look at. Yeah.
So will you continue to take any more leaves on?
Probably not now, no. Obviously, the plant will take in the sunlight, the energy from the sunlight, so I don't want to totally strip them, especially while the bottom trusses are still developing. And they're getting the light now anyway, so I take them to just under where the fruit is. So technically I'd probably take that, I will probably take that leaf off, although we've got that fruit right up here. Because the key thing is the plant will keep trying to develop the fruit even if you take the leaves off. But they just look so sad when you take all the leaves off. I'd like to see a bit of greenery. And we've got plenty of tomatoes anyway, so. So if you have a look in there, this is the one that I call the glass house, because it is a glass greenhouse. And I had a bit of excitement the other week because the wire across the top snapped while I was on my hands and knees.
It's a shame I didn't get that one.
Yeah. So I had to crawl out backwards from underneath all the tomatoes and then try and put a wire through to support it again. But yeah,
Up at the top sometimes.
yeah. So if you're lucky, it might collapse while I'm in here today. So this is really packed full of stuff. And again, it's the wire that I put in is actually a little bit lower. I couldn't pull it tight enough because of the weight.
Yeah.
But we've got chilies at the back. We've harvested quite a few off this plant, and it's starting to produce flowers again. So that one's going to fruit again. And chilies you'll give you fruit right and through till maybe the end of November, as long as there's no frosts. But they will take a little bit of cooler weather. So yeah, we've got quite a few chilies on this plant to remove, but we're taking them a bit at a time. We've got basil in pots all the way around because they like the heat. We've got a Thai basil there, that's slightly different. Have you smelt that one?
No.
Just rub it with your fingers and smell it. It smells lovely.
Oh, it's really nice.
Yeah. Still get the basil, but you get the aniseed as well. So it's really nice, yeah. So in this one, again, we've got different varieties of tomatoes. We've had quite a few. This one is called Black Cherry, and we've had lots and lots of tomatoes off that. They're still going all the way up. They're a bit like bunches of grapes, but yeah, they're still going well. This one is, I believe, Pink Flamingo. Yeah, and that's got really unusual fruit. You see how the fruit's pointed. Yeah, so you can see where they get the flamingo from. Yeah. And they do sort of ripen to a pinky, pale red colour. So that's good. They're the peppers that I talked about. Yeah. You can see we've just got some fruit coming in there. They're just starting. There was one that got a better one on than that. Oh, it's there. Sorry, they're under there. Look.
Oh yeah,
yeah. How did I not see them? But they're just developing into, peppers. Yeah, it's because I was looking down at it. But yeah, they're coming on nicely now. So keep feeding them weekly, watering them as and when they need it. They don't like to dry out, but they don't want to be soaking wet either, as with tomatoes. This here is the watermelon that we had about 6 plants, and because of the summer that we didn't get early on, they really struggled. So we just brought this one in here, and it's trying now to grow. And it's just actually getting. That's a female flower because there's no the male flowers have a stem on them. The female flowers have a little bulge behind them, which develops into the watermelon. Yeah. So you tend to get the male ones first, a flush of male ones, then the female ones come after, and then you can self-pollinate them. But we'll give it a go, we'll see what happens. And then the aubergines, which got flowers come on them, and I have pollinated them by hand.
The flowers on it.
And then obviously we've got as cucumbers, we've got a small one on there.
Oh yeah.
This is a variety called Masterpiece, which will have the bigger cucumbers on. And this one is the Beth Alpha, which is they probably grow another couple of inches long, and they're the slicing ones. Yeah. Just spotted a weed in there. This is a Tromboncino squash, and as you can see, we've got one or two. We've already had quite a large one off, and we've got another one there and one there. And as you can see, as it's going up, it's producing them. Now with squashes, you need to make sure they get plenty of water, plenty of feed as well. Because what Rachel told me the other day is that they can get blossom end rot as well if they're not fed enough, so which is something I didn't realise. I'd not heard of that before. So we're feeding it possibly twice a week at the minute because it is growing very rapidly. It's sending off side shoots as well down here. So I'll try and tie those in, and it's got another side shoot there. And they're quite amazing plant squashes when you look at the tendrils that they send out. Yeah. I like to just give them a bit of a helping hand, just tie them in. They tie themselves in.
They're like old phone lines, so you know where they're like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like
So, yeah. So all I do is tend to just give it a helping hand, tie it to get itself in there. and it'll tighten itself up, as you can see, like these here, look. Once they get old, they sort of pull themselves tight, really. That one's not quite tight yet, but that one's fairly rigid.
Okay.
And they're very strong.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Tromboncino is you can either let them develop into really big squashes, let them the skins harden and use them as like almost like a winter squash, or you can take these like courgettes, like a summer squash, which is the way I prefer them really. And they're really good for spiralising or just roasting. And you can eat the skin when they're at this stage. Just let them get a bit bigger. But yeah, they'll produce a lot of fruit. So looking at the salad crop, it's still going strong. I'm picking that at lunchtimes and having it on my sandwiches. So that's still going. It won't be any good for much longer. Probably another couple of weeks maybe. The fence panels have been really good. I mean, they've been in flower for 10 weeks, from the beginning of June at least, and they've put on some really fantastic displays for us. But the squirrels had all the strawberries off the top, so we're going to move those. Because we'll fill this with spring flowering bulbs. Once the autumn starts, we'll get the bulbs planted in when we've cleared this out. And then we'll look at resiting these for next year. We're going to put a new bed in here somewhere anyway, so perhaps one in there. The Mesembryanthemum is not one that you'd always use as like a trailing plant, but they do trail, as we've witnessed. And they will flower for weeks and weeks if you feed them and deadhead them. They're getting another flush of buds. You see that every one of these is a bud. So there's lots and lots of buds coming, and it's still green. So in this bed we've got a bit of a mixture really. We've got perpetual spinach, which got some lovely leaves of spinach there. The beetroot, and we've got some nice beetroot in here as well. I know Rachel's interested in the beetroot. So.
You picked in vinegar.
Yes, I have. I always buy it early because it sells out. So you can see we've got some fairly nice beetroot in there.
Oh yeah, perfect.
So yeah, we'll be harvesting those in the next couple of weeks. And then we've got kale, curly kale, which again, all you do with that, it'll just keep growing, and that should grow right through till next spring. And all you need to do is just keep pulling off the outer leaves. So if you just take it off, you don't even need to cut it. Just snap it downwards, and then you just strip that off the main stem, because the stem can be a bit twiggy, if you like, a bit sinewy. So you just strip that off and flash fry it or boil it, and you can either be like cabbage or you can use it in a stir fry. So as you're stripping it off, it's growing up from the middle, and all these leaves. And we've got 4 plants in there, and you can see the amount of kale that there is. But we've had a few caterpillars on there, but not many. But yeah, that's just a different variety. It's a darker leaf. So as you can see, that's the same principle. You just pick the outer leaves off, just push them down, and they'll come off in your hand. And then if you just strip those again off the central stem, boil it, flash fry it, and again, as you can see, there's lots and lots of new leaves coming. So that again will keep growing right through winter, and you can be able to use it right through till next April.
Brilliant. So kale's a really good one, right?
Kale's a brilliant one, as is this perpetual spinach. That's the same. You just strip off the outer leaves, and then you'll keep getting another flush of growth in the middle there, all the tiny leaves. The tiny leaves you can use in a salad. The larger leaves, I would suggest you cook them. You know, again, you can stir fry them, just wilt them down into pasta or something like that. But again, it's another one that keeps giving. We've got the patty pan squash in this one. Now we still have, nasturtiums. Now we set those to attract the cabbage white butterflies, and it's worked a treat because we've actually stripped all the leaves off of this nasturtium. I think there's some here, look. So you've got that's a large white caterpillar. So a large white butterfly caterpillar. But the other day there were just hundreds of them, and you might think, oh well, let's pick them off and kill them, but we don't want to wipe out the cabbage white butterfly. We just don't want it to eat our cabbages. So we put these in as a sacrificial plant. We put them slightly away from the cabbages because they might spread from. If you plant the nasturtiums with the cabbages, they could spread from one to the other. So we put them in a bed with something that the cabbage white butterflies won't caterpillars won't want it to eat. This bed we've got some carrots, and you see we've got the onions at the side of them. That's just so that the onions let off their scent, and it masks them a bit, masks the carrot smell to protect them from carrot root fly. The other thing that I do as well is I just earth them up slightly. Again, that can protect them from carrot root fly, but it also stops the tops from going green. So as you can see that there's no green on that carrot top, and the green is like it's not very pleasant to eat, and you need to cut that off if you're going to eat the carrot. So by doing that, you're just not going to get any green on your carrot, so you can use the whole of the carrot. You were saying that you've had something eating the tops of your carrots.
Yeah, don't know what it was. Some fly is laid.
Yeah, so like little grubs. If you've got carrot root fly, the carrot root fly the grub will eat the root itself. It won't bother with the leaf as such, but you'll know because you get like, it will wilt. The plant, if they really get infested, it'll wilt the leaves of the carrot. And when you pull them up, you'll see the grubs, and they're not very pleasant at all. Right, so if we want to have a quick look at the archway. Yeah, come on, Ezra. You're a star now. That's it. You're going to be an internet star.
I'll leave you to it. Very friendly.
That's all right.
No problem.
Cameo.
So we've got some outdoor varieties of tomato, and this is a variety called Roma, and it's a great one for making pasta sauces with. As you can see, it's got a lovely truss of tomatoes, and again, I've hand pollinated those. You don't have to, but again, just with a toothbrush or not a toothbrush, paintbrush or a cotton bud, just go inside the flower. In fact, I'll just fetch a brush and I'll show you. You just spend sort of 10 minutes once a week, and all you do is just go in with a paintbrush or a cotton bud, and basically just you're mimicking the actions of an insect, of a bee or whatever.
I know we did it on the watermelons.
Yeah, and that worked, didn't it?
Really well.
So you just move that around and then move to another flower, and again, all you're doing is just transferring pollen from one to the other. You don't have to do that, especially if they're outside, because the wind will pollinate them. Another method you can use, especially in a greenhouse, is just to tap the plant, and that'll release the pollen. And again, in the air, it should pollinate. But yeah, just move around the plant. And as I say, I did it with this truss here. Look, you can see how well it's actually completely full.
Lots of
Yeah,
tomatoes on.
and then as the plant's been growing, I've been doing it, and you can see they're all starting to.
Just helps it along, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just giving nature a helping hand, really. And again, with the outdoor bush varieties, you don't have to take the bottom leaves off. I have done. And the other thing is not to allow all the side shoots to develop as well. So you pinch a few side shoots out, leave some to grow, but I tend to take a few out so that the bush isn't overgrown. Yeah, because you need to get some light in there for the tomatoes to ripen.
Nice. Okay.
The onions have done really well. We've got some absolute whoppers. So as you can see, they've been fed once a week, kept watered. A little trick, if you're not sure whether to water or not, if you just run your finger into the compost, you can feel the moisture in that.
Yeah.
So it might look dry on the surface, but just under the surface, it's still moist. So they're fine.
Yeah.
The sign that they're mature
Yeah.
is
Oh,
that.
in leaves. Yeah.
Is that. That's just starting to curl on it, naturally bend over on its own.
Yeah.
See how that one's upright? That one's still fine, that's still growing.
Okay.
We've had none that have gone to seed. You get like a little grey flower, a bunch of like almost flowers at the top, and you can pinch those off. If you let it develop into a flower, you'll get a woody stem right down through your onion, and it makes them difficult to use.
Okay.
But if you pinch it off, and then as soon as you can, lift the onion, they're still usable. You might take the core out, but the outside should be fine. But yeah, that's a good sign that these are almost ready now. So it's just that, yeah, I've not pushed them over, the wind's not blown them over, they just naturally start to bend as they ripen. So as I say, another 2 weeks, they're all starting to go now, you see.
Yeah.
And as a rule of thumb, they store better if they've actually got a thinner stem.
Yeah.
The ones with the thick stems, like that one's got, they don't seem to keep so well. Right. So if they've got a nice thin stem but a big onion at the bottom, that's perfect for storing. So last you, could last you 6 months if it's stored correctly. So yeah, again, feed them once a week. Make sure they don't dry out, because that's when a lot of plants like beetroot, carrot, onion, the root vegetables, if you let them dry out, they want to bolt, which is when they bolt to seed. So they panic. It's like a preservation mechanism that they think they want to shed the seeds, so that you either call it bolting or running to seed.
Makes sense,
Yeah. So, but they've been really good this year. Again, we've got nasturtiums in with this courgette, which has gone absolutely mad. It's got about 6 courgettes on down there. This one will be no good because it's soft on the end, so we'll take that one off. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least another 4 down there that we can take. So that's all good. We've just got a random sunflower in here. We just stuck them wherever we've got a bit of space, just to encourage the bees in.
Yeah, they're really nice actually.
Yeah, that one's flowering lovely now. Yeah.
I'll get a shot after.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's nice.
So at the top of this one, we've got some onions. We've got these onion de Paris, which is just a silver skin onion. So you can see they're just forming a nice little globe in there. So they're all right for pickling, or you can roast them whole. And then we've got a small... The reason the tomatoes in this end is because, if you remember, the pigeons were pulling the onions up. So before I netted them, they'd pulled some up at this end. So that's why there's hundreds and thousands tomato in there. As you can see, why it's called that. If you look how many tomatoes there are on that, all over the place. But they don't grow much bigger than that before they ripen.
No.
You can see the amount of flowers.
Yeah.
I don't bother pollinating that one, it's too much like hard work. There's your caterpillars.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're all up the stem, but that's fine. I'm more than happy for them to be on there.
Yeah.
And as you can see the amount of leaves that we've got, I think there was 3 nasturtium plants in there. So they're not really going to do that plant too much damage.
No.
They'll clear a lot of the leaves out, but it's not a problem. It's what we wanted it to do. There's a bed that's got 2 or 3 nasturtiums in it. It's got a couple of sunflowers in it, and it's got a couple of squash plants in it. We've got a nice example of a squash flower there with that's the female flower. It's got the squash behind it. So that's your male flower. So you've got a long thin stem. These are all male flowers coming up. Okay. And that's obviously going to be a female flower because it's got the squash behind it.
Yeah.
And you see the stem's a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've talked about the arch, have we?
No, not yet. Don't think
Yeah, so that's naturally going to be the next thing, I think. So we've had a bit of an issue with the morning glory this year. This is the 3rd time we've set them, and they've actually managed to grow this time. We've had numerous reasons. 1 was the weather, and 2 was they were getting eaten by slugs. So they're starting to come across the top. They'll naturally climb, but what they'll want to do is go straight up. So they just, you see, if you let go, it'll want to go up.
Yeah.
So all I do is give it a bit of a helping hand. Just be gentle because you don't want to snap it, and then just carefully, and that'll do it. I'll do for that. There you go. Yeah. And then again, as it grows along, once it's met the one coming the other way, they'll tend to grow into one another and grow along, like we've got with the beans.
Yeah.
As you can see, plenty of beans coming, and it's quite a spectacular way of growing your beans because again, you let them grow all the way across, let them cross over, and then when the bean from here gets to that corner, just pinch out the growing tip, and then they'll bush out, and they'll keep coming up, and you'll get a display like this. Yeah. And not only is it a nice display, but you're going to get lots and lots of beans. There's plenty to pick now. Yeah, the sweet peas, they just about run the course. I think they're getting a bit of mildew as well, so probably the end of this week, beginning of next, we'll take those out. And we'll find something else to pop in that bed just for perhaps their location, because it's quite confined here and there's not so much airflow, which is a good way of preventing mildew. And you know, it's a lot of it's ventilation. Yeah. But yeah, they've flowered really well. We've had loads of pickings of them, so
yeah, it's been nice.
It's been good. Again, we've got another wigwam of beans there, and they're slightly behind the ones on the archway, so they'll continue the harvest. As they slow down, these will be in full swing, so we'll be having beans for quite some time. And here we are, the disaster zone. Yeah, we've found out that squirrels really like sweet corn. And as you can see, I'd pollinated them, and the corns were developing very nicely, and then the squirrels came, and in the space of one weekend, they just decimated them.
Yeah.
They've just eaten up. They know exactly where the cobs are
Yeah.
when they're nice and tender and young, and they just take the whole lot. They just take the whole lot out there. So we haven't got, well, there's one there, but they'll come back for it anyway. So we're going to rip those out. We'll probably put maybe potatoes in there. We want to encourage wildlife into the garden, so we can't really say we'll have all the wildlife, but not squirrels. So this bed, so we've got zinnias in the front, and I think there are a few Rudbeckias that are just starting to get flower buds on them.
Oh, so they flower quite a bit later.
Well, they could be in flower now. It's just that the seed was set a bit late, I think. So that's down to me really that they were a bit late, but they're going to flower. Yeah, get a continuation of flowers. So we've got a real mixture of colours, and the rose Campion that we actually moved earlier in the year have just been fantastic. They've just flowered and flowered and flowered. I do keep deadhead in them, and I deadhead them every day, and I'm taking hundreds off every day, and they just keep going, which is great. No, they last a long time, the flower on the zinnia, because they're a bit like paper, and I mean that one's about ready for coming off. And what you'll do is you'll take that off down to the leaf joint, just above a leaf joint, and then as you can see, it'll encourage these side shoots to grow quicker and stronger, and you'll get more than the one flower. That's the lead flower. So once that's gone, you get your side shoots. They do like a lot of sun, and they can be quite particular about the soil, but so long as they're not waterlogged, they should be fine. But I mean, I'm not a massive fan of yellow flowers, but I think that is lovely. Even I quite like. So here's the cabbages that, as you can see, they've not been ravaged by caterpillars. I have again been checking them every couple of days, looking for eggs, looking for caterpillars, and I have picked some caterpillars off, and I've picked some eggs off. But we've used no pesticides at all, so we are starting to get some hearts. As you can see, that's all untouched. So
nice. Hopefully
we'll get some decent. Yeah. These did really well last year.
Yeah.
The cabbages. The artichokes again are doing pretty well. We thought we were going to struggle with them, but they suddenly took off when the weather improved. They took off, and we've been feeding them every week. They're not going to. Doesn't look like they're going to try and flower this year, which is good because we don't want them to flower anyway. We'd cut those flowers off because they're a globe variety. So next year when they flower, hopefully we'll get some globes to try. I've never actually eaten it, globe artichoke. So
I love them.
oh well, there you go then. So Rachel knows how to cook them. So yeah, they're looking good for next year. Oh, we missed the dahlias, didn't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, again the dahlias. We moved those round a little bit within the bed, but they've come back strong. They're flowering a little bit later because we moved them. But as you can see, we've got quite a few flowers coming on now. We've not had the full flush of flowers yet, but you can see there's lots of buds coming. So again, it's going to be a little bit later than we'd like, but we're going to get them. And again, I've put some cosmos in just for the changing foliage, really, get a contrast, and obviously you get the flowers. But yeah, it's been good. And this is your little project, the square foot growing, so you've got hundreds and thousands tomato in there, which has grown really well. It's gone absolutely, it's gone absolutely crazy. You've got some red spring onions in there as well, which are filling out nicely. We've got another cabbage plant, which again is getting starting to heart up, and then your beetroot's done okay as well. Just starting to fill out nicely. There's one or two reasonable ones there.
Nice.
And your carrots again, you see some tops there, look. Try not to touch them too much, but keep them covered up. So yeah, you've got quite a lot in one bed, which is what your experiment was for. To be honest, you can take your beetroot at any stage, from the small one right through. What you don't want to do is to get too big because they get woody. And they get like a white core down the middle, and it's not very nice.
Focus, right?
Yeah, so you can see it's just a nice size, nice and round, perfect for pickling or roasting or... This bed, I know, yeah. We've got a patty pan in here, you can see that it wants a drink. So I'm going to give that a drink of water when we've finished. Again, another quite greedy plant. You've got some patty pan coming on it, just under there, look. The Clematis arch, this Clematis hasn't flowered yet, whereas the other one has flowered and it's starting on its second flush. It's just getting more buds on it now.
The leaves are yellow as well, but is that just the variety?
I think it's probably just the variety. It's the Nelly Moser, that. It's normally a pretty reliable variety. that's just about at it as well. But as you can see, it's got all new buds coming on it, so it's going to flower again. What variety is that one? I ought to know really. It's only been in there 2 years,
Well,
hasn't
that's
it?
what you put labels in for.
Yeah.
To remind you.
Pillu. Is it that one? But yeah, it's been nice. Some of these beds are getting ready for remaking now, which it'll be a job for the winter. Get them built and painted and ready for putting out next spring. But yeah, the archways worked well. And then this one was going to be wildflowers, and we set lots of different varieties of flowers in there, and they just wouldn't germinate for whatever reason. So we put in basically just a spare plants that we'd got, the Lavatera, which has flowered really nicely, and some Purity Cosmos, which again is a favourite of mine. I like the white flower.
Yeah.
And it's just got underneath. It's just got some Nigella, Loving the Mist, just for a bit of contrast.
Yeah.
And then the project we've got for next year for this spring is to extend the pond and put a shallower area in, maybe a boggy area. Undertake that sort of the end of September time.